And now for our feature presentation.
This is great because on the back it actually says this film is also known as
the I'll Watch It Later podcast.
You ever heard of that film?
And now, on with the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Wait, what was that? What the hell was that? What was that?
I was interrupting you.
What did you say?
Why do you have so many movies on Instagram?
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to I'll Watch It Later podcast. As always, I'm your host, Aaron, joined with me by my late best friend, Jordan. Oh, I said your name. Sorry, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What, am I dead?
No, sorry, I don't know why.
I used to be alive. My late best friend's Jordan's corpse. Hi, everybody.
He was late today. Scott was late last week. They just don't seem to care much.
I got yelled at.
Hold on.
Jordan did not get yelled at.
Hush.
I feel like I'm being singled out.
And as always, I'm joined by my brother-in-law, best friend and producer, Scott.
Who was fashionably on time today.
Yeah, well, you know what the difference is?
What's the difference, please?
He communicates. You just show up whenever you want.
I live 4 houses down.
It doesn't matter.
Still late.
Then
They're 45 minutes away. Still on time.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So, it's been 2 weeks since we talked about movies.
It's been.
Last week we had the snack show for you. We are slowly collecting new snacks. There's already stuff I've seen that I'm excited about.
Grabbed stuff.
Did you? Did you find the jelly beans?
No, but
Okay.
someone I know already has them in Chicago, which means they're coming around here. I'm gonna.
Okay.
You said Target?
Yeah, I checked 2 Targets already.
We got
I
all the
can't find
Easter
them.
candy coming out, so there's going
I
to be
know.
stuff out there.
But yeah, we just I was able to grab something, so we have something for the next show.
Oh, we've got stuff for the next show.
So I'm excited about that. Have you guys watched any movies since the
Dude,
last?
I've done nothing but watch movies
Me
this week.
too.
Everything but the 2 movies I wanted to watch.
Which were?
I never watched Nightmare Alley like I really wanted to.
You suck.
I know.
I did.
Fuck.
What?
I'll watch it.
I watched Nightmare Alley.
Did you like it?
I
If
did.
you say
I
it's
did like
okay,
it.
I'm kicking you
No,
off the
I
show.
did like it. I would love to probably watch the original just
I
to
have
kind of compare
Let me know,
it, just
and
to
you can
see
borrow it.
if the original is as good, because I do like the story. I like the whole swindle the swindler kind of story.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was.
Don't
it was
ruin
fun.
it for-
It was
Oh,
good.
it's fine.
That's why I was trying not to kind of say
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. So
But,
I didn't get around to watching that. Every night I try to. I sit there and go, okay, it's about 2 hours or so. It's like 10 o'clock right now. I can watch it till midnight. And then I get in a mood where it's like, do I really got to get in something super heavy? I don't want to sit there and pay attention. Half the time I'll throw something on and I'm just messing around on my phone. And so I'm like, the whole week I just kept pushing off. Oh, I'll watch it. Literally, I'll watch it later. And I just
Hence
haven't.
the name of the show.
Right. And I just didn't do it. So that kind of bummed me out. But I'll watch it tonight. I'll definitely watch it tonight.
Watch it tonight. We can talk about it next week when you
Yeah,
do
for
your
sure.
review.
I mean, we did as a collective. We did go see a movie.
Jackass.
Yeah, we did see
Oh,
Jackass.
Jackass.
And again, as Jackass does, lives up to the hype.
So funny.
Lots of wiener.
So much
Lots
wiener.
of wiener in this movie.
So much
if you are
wiener.
uncomfortable with wiener, just be prepared.
I don't know why you're listening to this show. You got to be comfortable with wiener.
We haven't had much wiener talk on the show.
Not yet. We're going to watch Eastern Promises.
Once we start getting really comfortable.
I think the Jackass thing, and I put this in my review on Letterboxd, but it's just like, you can't really go wrong with those movies. They love everyone. Everyone's
it
like
was what it
incorporated into their world. There's no hate. There's nothing
No.
political about it. There's
It's just fun.
It
Dumb
is.
shit.
It's just fun, and it's dumb, and I
They
always
had women
hate,
on the show this time. Like they
Yeah.
actually had a woman doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not as dumb as some of the other things, but
I don't know, man. Scorpions freak me out. I couldn't do it. But I like that. I usually attack movies where it's just like, turn your brain off for 2 hours. But that's exactly what
I
this
was going to say, you literally went on a diatribe for
I
about the
know.
whole turn your brain off thing, but this is the quintessential
this
turn
is
your brain
it.
off thing.
But this is okay. This is funny. It's fun. You're with your pals and you're like, oh, I would never do something stupid like that. But it's fun to talk about. Turn your brain off because this guy for the next 2 hours is going to treat you like an asshole is totally different. So
I was definitely laughing. I even told you after the movie, I was laughing so hard at some of it that I felt like I was going to throw up. My stomach was hurting. I was just laughing just incredibly hard. And some of the stuff I was laughing at wasn't even like the gross out stuff or even the crazy stunts. It was that blackout room scene where they thought
Oh,
there was a
I
snake
know,
in there.
that was
so
And I'm just sitting there going, that is the funniest situation I think anyone could be in, where they think a venomous snake is going to get them, and it's pitch black. It reminds me of every haunted house I've ever been to and things like that. And then they go into the other room and then just get mauled by pots and pans. Like that scene and then the bear scene. Those were my like two favorite things in the world. Some of the gross out stuff still kind of like, ugh, God, why?
I couldn't do it.
But for the most part, it's just dumb fun. Like, it's just dumb fun. And it reminded me more of like Jackass 1 and 2. Not so much 3. 3 I always felt like was the weaker of the original
Why?
3 that came out. I don't know. I just feel like...
I think 3 was just kind of capitalizing on
They were doing the
whole,
3D
it
bit.
it was on the downhill slide of where Jackass was, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of started to like lose a steam a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think 3 came out and it was kind of salvaging that the rest of what was going on. And it was probably their weakest, but I mean it's still funny.
This one was great.
I liked it
was
because it did the whole 10-year thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it was
right.
it was nice because it's been 20 years since the original Jackass came out. It was 10 years since the last Jackass came out. So like it was weird kind of seeing the progression, and it's fun because these guys are our age. They're in their 40s and 50s doing stupid shit, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know,
can't
my
imagine.
body would hurt. Like I can't even walk up the stairs without my knees sounding like Rice Krispie treats. And I'm like, these guys are being shot out of cannons and hit with bulls. I'm like, oh, good
I
for
always
you,
had
man.
an aunt like that, and I would always cringe when I heard her knees. Oh,
And then now it's like, now you're at that age. But yeah, I watched that. We watched Jackass. I watched Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. And after watching it, it's like, it still pretty much fits today's, the way the world is. And it's weird because this was a 1992, I believe. And it's just, it feels like this could be a movie that comes out now and makes sense. You know, instead of a private radio, it's, like us, a podcast. And, you put messages out there that maybe other people were trying to hide. And it worked. The soundtrack is amazing. I love Christian Slater movies to the point where afterward I watched that. The next day I watched Gleaming the Cube.
Oh, jeez.
I've never seen either.
Are you serious?
I haven't
Oh.
seen Pump Up the Volume or
Gleaming the Cube is like right up there with
I
Rad.
own
And that
Pump
came-
Up the Volume.
And that came out, I believe, the year before Pump Up the Volume. And it's weird. There's almost like this weird... Christian Slater was the same character in both.
Yeah.
It's like almost that
He
character
kind of played
moved
the same
from...
character in everything almost.
Well, and then on my Christian Slater kick, I watched Interview with a Vampire the other night. And it's just like, man, there are problems with that movie, but I still really enjoyed it. Like, I still really like that movie. I still don't like Tom Cruise in that role, but for the most part, it's like seeing some of the big actors still now in, a Brat. Like, it's like their version of a Brat Pack movie. You had Antonio Banderas, you had Tom Cruise, you had Brad Pitt. Kirsten Dunst was an infant at that point. I mean, it was weird seeing some of these actors in that role and that young.
I've
and
never seen it.
Did you?
So have you
Do
seen
you
Interview
watch
with a
anything?
Vampire?
I do, but
Do you watch anything?
I've never seen. There's just certain things.
So I
that
just
I've
named
never
3
seen.
movies.
And I
that
haven't seen
I
any
would
of
say
them.
most people probably have seen, and you've never seen it.
No, but
this
I've
is
seen
your
a lot
Lethal
of-
Weapon moment. You have to watch all these movies.
I
yeah.
did watch all the Lethal Weapons, like you guys asked me to,
Right.
1 to 4 in 2 days. And
Yeah,
I loved
it's-
every single one of them.
Yeah, I love the
'cause they're
actual.
awesome.
I love the play-by-play you were giving me as I was driving to California. Like, I'm watching Lethal Weapon 1. I'm just like, why is he on the toilet? I mean, like,
That was
move
2.
from your fucking house. I know that was part 2. Like, it's funny because people don't talk about Lethal Weapon 1 as much.
They
that's
should.
that's the darker. Because that guy, like, Riggs is gonna kill himself. He's
Yes.
he's like trauma, PTSD. He's dealing with Vietnam. I think he finally gets that family he's been missing with Murtaugh and his family. So like 2 kind of tones it down. He's still fucking batshit crazy, and then 3 gets into now he's just comic foil, and he's got a woman he wants, and
Well,
then 4 is just a straight up
I
comedy.
kind of, because I watched
comic book comedy at that point.
because I watched them all so close together. I could almost, like, the beats of the film, I'd be like, okay, now we're going to get a Mel Gibson action sequence.
Yep.
Now we're going to get,
It's playbook.
It really
Oh, yeah.
is. It was a
playbook.
playbook. But I did enjoy all of them. I thought that they still held up for today's standards, especially the first one. There's like a whole torture scene and stuff. The
Yes.
only thing I did not like about Lethal Weapon was they incorporated his wife's death into one of the films where they're like, it was us. I was the one who took out your wife. I was supposed to kill you, but I accidentally killed her.
I believe it
And
was the second one, maybe.
I think it was. And I was like, come on, man. Like, that's so. You should have just left that alone.
Just trying to tie in the movies
I don't.
together,
I don't like that. I don't like that stuff. It just that did not work for me. But I really like 2. I think 2 is my favorite. And
2 is the most quotable.
Yeah.
Like anyone ever quotes anything, it's always like diplomatic immunity. It's been revoked, and that's always the one that gets the most quotes. I think the bringing in Joe Pesci in Part 3 gets a lot of people talking about it, but. Yeah, I think 2 out of all of them is usually my favorite.
He was in 2.
Was he in 2?
Yeah, that's the drive-through always fucks you or whatever.
That's right.
And then he tries to sell his house in 3.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so yeah, he comes in 2. That's when they pulled the fucking stilt house down.
Yes.
And he tied the truck.
We might have to go.
We might have to do a Lethal Weapon rewatch because
I mean, I'll do it again. I'm fine. I'd love to
I'll-
see him in theaters. I really would.
I think they're talking about making a 5th one.
I know they are talking about making a
and
fifth
they're
one.
talking about Mel Gibson directing it.
Yes, because
Why
Richard
not?
Donner's dead.
Is he? Apparently I'm dead. Apparently we're gonna get the corpse of Richard Donner to do
I meant
Lethal
you were
Weapon
late
5.
to the show. Come on.
The
you
late
know
great.
that.
I mean, God, but wouldn't you love to see a Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson though? Like just a remake where they're just old as shit, doing the same shtick.
I think they are doing that.
I mean, that's
That's
kind
what
of
we're
what they're
saying.
trying to do.
Is he going to be in it
Yes.
as well as direct
Yes.
it?
He's going to direct
okay.
it and he's going to be in it. I've seen Danny Glover. I've actually seen Danny Glover in person, and this man feels like he's aged
A million.
tremendously. It is almost weird where you see Danny Glover in Saw, and then I saw him in I think it was Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. I think he was the antagonist in that, and it looked like he had a stroke. Like he had looked way older.
I remember
the way he was
Saw,
talking.
he looked
It's
real
almost you almost could tell like maybe he had false teeth or something. I don't know. It's so weird to think about doing another Lethal Weapon with the original guys, especially Mel Gibson stuff. I don't care. Fucking do another Lethal Weapon. I'll watch Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
I watched him as fucking Santa Claus. I don't fucking care. But
I hated that movie.
it was dumb.
Fat
it,
man.
it was so.
There's so
bad.
many people online that are like, "It's such a good movie." I'm like, "What?
No, don't go.
Did we
online
watch
for
the same
anything.
movie?"
But yeah, like I'll watch another Lethal Weapon. I just may not like it. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking forward to. I'll watch this new Uncharted movie coming out.
Yeah, we're
I'm
going.
not gonna like it.
Yeah.
And
Wait.
partly it's because
Gluttons for punishment.
well, part of it is
Are you
it's.
gonna go with us?
We should go.
Probably. I'm
Don't
sure I'll
even,
get-
because I'm like, "Hey man, do you want to go to a movie?" And you're like, "I don't know, dude. It's Monday, and nobody else has told me what plans I have
That's
yet."
because
Dude, he's slinging bread in the next day. You can't make a deal.
Aaron apparently has no plans for the next 16 years because he's like, I'm going to this movie when it comes out in August. Are you down? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
Buying
No,
tickets
no,
are
no,
on
no.
sale now.
I always ask you the week of, and you're like, "No one has told me we have anything to do."
Oh,
meaning,
he's gonna go. With
meaning
us.
like stamp the card for Friday instead of waiting for something to come up.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes my work can pull me away. Sometimes I have other plans that apparently other
Gotta
people have
hostess
made for us.
emergency.
I mean, this is one of those things. It's
Fucking cry
it's
about it,
marriage
dude.
shit.
Jesus
Christ.
Cry,
We gotta go.
cry more.
the Bunmobile. But yeah, I watched that. I think I watched. I forget. There was something else I watched.
I watched Home Team.
Was that the
The
Kevin James?
Kevin
I also
James.
watched that.
I know you guys were. I know
I
you
liked
saw it.
it.
You guys were talking about it last week, but I
I
never
li-
got
I
around.
It
like-
was weird.
I liked it more than I should have liked it. I mean, it's not a good movie by any means, but since I'm a huge New Orleans Saints fan,
There you
it
go.
has a lot of like
Yes.
Saints stuff sprinkled in it, and like it shows. The opening scene is them winning the Super Bowl, which was my favorite day ever. And
Aaron's
He's,
just in there
he's
just
had a child.
whacking it.
He had a child, by the way, and he's been married. So to pick that as his favorite day
Not-
ever is actually
no,
very
I mean-
telling.
I'm just saying, like in general, like it was such an emotional day. The next day, I joined the army, blah blah blah. But I'm just saying, like it was
He's like,
fun.
you can't get better than this. Let's go to war.
It was fun seeing all that interaction, and Kevin
I get it.
James really did act like Sean Payton, like with the
My
cheering
only
and the
question
way
is does
pursed
he
his lips.
does he just dress like that all the time? Because
Clearly.
in the movie he goes around and he's Coach Payton in every fucking
Yeah.
scene. He shows up at the hotel with his visor and his Saints gear on. I'm like, the only thing he's missing is his headset. I mean, to just completely just burn that freaking
But
trope
the
to the
weird
ground,
thing
man.
is that I don't look at Kevin James and say, "Oh, that looks like Sean Payton." Like
Right.
that's what bugs
He
me about some of
channels
these.
him though.
Well, yes, if you act a certain way, that's fine. I understand that. But if you don't look like a certain person that you're trying to portray, that's what throws me off. Like I like some of these biopics where they try their hardest to get it.
Well, it's
Joaquin Phoenix is
weird.
another big
Yeah.
stain where it's like on Walk the Line. That's not Johnny Cash.
But
it's
it's-
nothing like Johnny.
this movie
you
is
can
weird,
act like
though.
him all you want, but
Because I didn't know if it was a comedy or if it was supposed to be like, about Sean Payton's story. It was kind of like they took a little bit of both, because at first I was like, okay, is this supposed to be funny in a comedy, or is it supposed to be about Sean Payton?
It really happened.
Right, I know it really happened, but that's what I'm saying is it was kind of I didn't really know where it was going to go. I was like, okay, so this is a Sandler film.
I was going to say,
is it funny? Is it supposed to be funny, or is it supposed to be just straight up just about his story?
At, like the picture of the movie and things like that, it gave me this serious like, oh, it's like a Bad News Bears,
exactly.
or it's what's that baseball movie that
it's
Keanu
Little
Reeves
Giants.
was the coach, or Little Giants, or even like
Hardball.
Mighty Ducks. Like it felt like, this guy,
that's exactly what it is.
He's usually dealing with adults, and now he's got to deal with kids. Funny things ensue. Like, and that's kind of it. I feel like it's been done, and that's why I kind of avoided it. But I mean, maybe I'll check it out.
Other than the Sean Payton aspect of it and the Saints, Little Giants is probably a better movie.
But Little Giants is.
I love Little Giants, and this one had the heart. It had the whole sports theme and the rah-rahs and the go for it's. It just, I don't know, there's something about it that just didn't hit like those other movies did.
I know you were talking about seeing the Kurt Warner one. Did you get around to doing that?
I started to watch it, so I did pull it up and start to watch it.
Turned it off.
But it was like 11:30 at night, and I just...
He was already 2 hours past his bedtime.
Yeah, I was like, I can't stay up for this, man. So I do have to finish it. I did start watching it, though.
Okay. I watched, I put on... so I threw a birthday party for Wesley last week, and while I was getting stuff done...
Were you invited to that?
No, I don't want you guys there. And then I threw on Ghostbusters Afterlife. He hadn't ever watched it. I figured it's in the background. I've seen it, so I can clean up stuff, get things ready, and do stuff. Halfway through the movie, I was sitting on the couch. Wesley was sitting next to me, and then when things happened at the end, I still was bawling like a small child. I'm like, this movie still hits me way harder than it should. Wesley's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." Like this sucks, and then we watched Ghostbusters too, and I was like, oh, I love this movie. It's so good. So I think this week eventually I'm going to dip into the work print cut of the original Ghostbusters in the box set and see what they cut out, see what looks different, and kind of do all that. So that's on my list of things to do.
So wait a minute, you liked Ghostbusters? We haven't dedicated enough episodes to that, so I just want to make sure.
And then I watched Malignant, and then. No, we're not going to talk about Malignant, no Ari Aster stuff. No, we're done. It's 2022. Let's start new here. I watched it. You asked the question.
I watched this movie, 2 movies actually that I really wanted to talk about. One was called Spontaneous, and it is totally not what you expect. It has a totally terrible poster. It's like a heart.
It looks bad. Like you said that to me, I'm like, I'm never watching this.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I would really recommend this film because I guarantee you'll like it. It's not about you're not. The movie is about these kids who are exploding and how they're kind of dealing with it. It's very timely.
Like physically exploding?
Yes.
Oh, I'm in.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Never mind. I'm in.
So,
but I thought emotionally exploding. It's like dealing with puberty. I'm like, I'm never watching this.
They can't figure out what's going on, and by the end, you never figure out what's going on. So I'm gonna spoil that little part. But it's like but it's more about the story that it tells, and it's really good, and it kind of lines up with today's politics and what's going on today with COVID and stuff. And I had a bunch of fun with it because it is a comedy, but it's very dark humor.
Did they just show people exploding though?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
maybe
was it the Warheads commercials where they just
bite into it
just
and
exploded and blew up?
I thought their heads got big.
I don't know. That's why I said I can't remember which one it was.
He's old.
And then
I made him way too long.
And then me and Kim on Friday night watched Old Henry, which is something I've actually lied about seeing, but not to you guys, but to other people. But a guy at work wanted to borrow it because I was like, he was asking if I'd ever heard of it. And I was like, I own it. It's great, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, can I borrow it? And I was like, yeah. He brought it back. He's like, I watched this 3 times in 2 days. This movie is fucking amazing. Thank you. And I was like, maybe I should watch this.
Maybe I should watch it.
Who's in that one? Because I think Timothy Blake Nelson's in that.
Timothy Blake Nelson,
Who's
Stephen
the main
Dorff.
guy?
Well, Timothy Blake Nelson is the
Oh,
main
is
guy.
he the main
He's
guy?
the main guy. He's the dude doing it. And it's like a dark, gritty, violent Western with a cool twist. And you never see the twist coming. And once the twist happens, you're like, this is the fucking coolest.
Okay.
So,
I like a Western. I'll probably check it out.
So I own it, and I would really like you guys
I've
to watch
I've heard people compare it to Unforgiven and kind of more drama based Western versus a traditional Western.
Yeah, it's a bunch of lead up. There is some action in it, but it's all at the end.
Okay.
It's way story driven. So,
all right, I'll check that out. I almost watched True Grit. You said Old Henry, and I was flipping through, and I was like, Oh, I haven't watched True Grit forever, but I stuck to my stupid Christian Slater movies this week.
So, we're here to talk about my movie that I picked for this month, and that movie would be American Animals.
You ever feel like you're waiting for something to happen? That thing that could make your life special.
Yeah. Like what?
Exactly.
Through these doors, John James Audubon. His book is the most valuable in existence.
$12 million in rare books, and only one old lady guarding it.
What?
I think you know what.
My heart beats in patterns through the broken sound.
This is your red pill or blue pill moment, my friend. You're either in or you're out.
How can I tell you if I'm in or I'm out without you telling me the first thing about what I might be in or out of?
My head spins in circles, so I
Aren't you even curious?
Well, yeah, prison would be a nice change of scenery.
only waste time. I should have.
The librarian is the single biggest risk to this entire operation.
Can you please not touch the model?
Thanks. I don't want you waking up 10 years from now wondering what could have happened. Let's go! Come on!
You guys are sending us to jail, you idiots!
You're the only one that can calm me down.
Can you stop? No, I'm not stopping until it's burned. Look, it's evidence. Thank you.
I was going to say,
let me
did
get
you leave
ready.
the longest pause?
Well,
We should have paused longer so he could pull it up
I
on his
forget.
phone.
I forget. Yeah, he has to do everything on his phone, and he is the slowest.
no,
person
I was
to
giving you
fucking
the
do it.
pause for the trailer.
We did the pause, and then we came back. You don't have to pause in real
then we had to
time
pause
for a
again.
trailer.
So it was directed by Bart Layton. It was starring Evan Peters from the X-Men films. He plays the fast
American
guy.
Horror Story. Like, he's
American
in
Horror
every
Story.
every.
Is he?
fucking
I never
season.
watched American
Every
Horror
season
Story.
he's in.
He's the one bright spot of American Horror Story.
Legit. Like that show. Yeah, I don't want to get on it.
Barry Keoghan, who I'm in love with as a human being, is in one of my favorite movies of all time, Killing of a Sacred Deer. Blake Jenner, Jared Abrahamson,
Samsonite.
Udo. I was way off. Udo Kier, which is he's in everything. He has like one tiny scene. I don't know how he's starring in this, but this
Udo Kier.
yeah, this movie is about two kids who kind of go to like an artsy college who decide that they're going to steal a book. Well, a bunch of books.
I had to look up the college because honestly, I really thought
Transylvania University.
really thought you were making this up, and then when I looked it up. I was like, I can't believe there's a real Transylvania University in Kentucky. So yeah, that was weird. But yes, go ahead.
And the movie mostly focuses on Barry Keoghan and Evan Peters, but mostly Barry Keoghan is a Spencer who is like doing all the right things and he hangs out with kind of the wrong guy, but I didn't even think he was like that.
He's
bad of
just
a
kind of
guy.
the loose cannon guy.
It's
you
the
know what I mean?
typical like you're working hard to achieve success in school, and he's pushed to be smart, and he's an artsy kid, and he wants to do well. But it's the same story of any teenager where it's like they feel like their life has no meaning because that's all they've been doing is working to a goal they don't even know they want.
Exactly.
And he's that very focused, hyper-focused art student, and the other character is a very I think he wants to rebel because he got into school on a sports scholarship. So he's always been pushed to be good at sports, and now he's just fucking letting loose. And he's weird and odd and almost like an opposite, but they connect. And it's just it's a typical story, but it's
when watching the film, you don't think he gets along very well with his dad, and his dad is like is the one that pushed him to be on this sports team, and then he doesn't even want to be there. So the way this movie is filmed is like you get an actual movie, but mixed in with documentary. So it's almost like a true crime 60 minutes type thing, which I thought was incredibly refreshing. I thought it was kind of cool seeing the actual guys trying to
very unconventional.
Yeah, trying to remember where they were and what they actually said, and one thinking it happened like this and the other thinking it happened like this, and then the movie switching to what like the other one said. So it was like
each
the first
thought, yeah.
Like there's a scene where they're meeting a guy and he's like, he had a ponytail. He was and the other guy's like, no, I think he was an old guy with like a beard. So like in the movie, it actually switches to that, and that was to me was really fun.
Well, there was a part where Barry Keoghan's the real life counterpart was like, well, I mean, I guess if he said it happened this way, I guess that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you're right. They kind of interspersed documentary style with an actual movie, which honestly at first threw me off.
Me
and
too.
It kind of made me feel like, okay, this is a low budget. I'm going to hate this movie. Like it threw me like I did not enjoy starting this movie. And it wasn't because it was your pick. It wasn't because of the subject matter. It wasn't because of who's in it. You're lucky for getting that. But for me, that style threw me off because you're right. It felt very 60 Minutes, where I'm like watching a mystery TV show that it's a dramatic reenactment of the real true crime, and it's just like, oh, it's gonna be one of these. And then
I ended up having to look it up because I didn't know if those were actually the real guys.
Me too. I thought
I was like,
oh,
are these
shit.
the real guys, or they just have somebody playing the real guys playing the guys in the movie? So I had to kind of look it up to see, like, oh, okay, these are the actual guys.
Right.
Because I was like, aren't they like they were in like prison or something?
Well, and I think that's what kind of upset me at first, because then it kind of made me feel like, well, then I know how this is going to end, because they're in this movie talking about it. So like I obviously the lead up to it and everything that happens, that's the story we want to watch and see. But then I'm sitting there going, well, I guess they're out of jail. This movie was made in this day. Okay. So I don't know. I think that threw me off at first, but as the movie progressed and as it kept going, there are moments where that fit really well. And there's a part where they're driving somewhere, and Barry Keoghan's character, he's on the fence about what they're planning and what they're doing, and they're driving by and they look over, and the real character, the real guy, is standing grabbing his newspaper, and he sees himself.
They kind of
drive
lock
by.
eyes, yeah.
And it's like, he's not really there, but it kind of makes me feel like it's like the future self going, don't fucking do it. You're going to ruin your life. Like, it was weird, and it started kind of clicking with me a lot better, and as the movie progressed, I kind of really liked that filming style.
Dude, I loved the end, how it all came full circle, because he walks
threw it
outside to
around.
get the paper,
exactly.
Oh, that was super cool.
But yes, it deals with those two mainly, and then they kind of pick up the two other characters later, because they start planning. So Barry Keoghan's character goes and he does a tour of a library at a school at the university, Transylvania University, and they apparently have a rare books section, like a specialized, archival thing, and you have to be on a tour, or you have to have special access to it, and there's like one lady that runs it, and she has to let you in. So he goes and he's on this tour, and he sees all these rare books, and one of them kind of stands out to him that's worth like $12.5 million.
Well, she tells him how much they're worth.
Right.
She's like, these are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, she's like, hey, we don't really talk about it too much, but since you asked, I'll let you know. And it's kind of weird because you don't really think about books in that way. I mean, it's supposed to be like a true story of one of the most audacious art heists in U.S. history, and I'm thinking, these are books. Like, you think art heists, you're like paintings on a wall or jewel thieves or things like that. They were trying to rob books, and it's kind of interesting that they focused on that, and then it was like let's change our lives moment. Let's do something crazy. Let's get out of our rut. Let's stop being our parents' little lapdogs and doing what they want us to do. Let's do something for ourselves. And then they kind of just start talking about it, and then talk ends up being, well, let's plan it. And then the planning gets worse and worse and worse. And then they bring up the other two guys.
Well, the one thing this movie did, which actually surprised me, because a lot of movies don't do this for me, it actually answered the question that I had early on in the movie. So as I'm sitting there, and they decide we're going to steal these books, right? And I'm like, so who on earth sits here and decides I'm going to steal this giant book? Who's going to buy it?
Right.
Where are you going to sell it? And then they actually answered that question, and I'm like, oh, good for you. You gave me the answer I was looking for, because I'm sitting there thinking, no way these guys, like me as a logical thinker at times, would say, why would I steal this? What am I going to do with it?
Well, yeah, like, okay, great, it's worth $12 million.
Yeah.
How are you going to get $12 million from this
who's going to buy this?
Who buys a giant book? I mean, this is not even like a book. Like, this is not like, oh my God, this is a thick tome. This is a big fucking, like, two people have to hold it. The pages are huge, like this is a giant art book by Audubon. And you've seen a lot of the
Birds
nature.
of America.
Yeah.
In fact, all the paintings at the beginning of the film were from that book. Like the actual book.
Yes.
That's weird because all the paintings at the end of the film are from the main character's own personal shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, trivia. Anyway, so go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I guess I've read so much about this film in the past 2 days that when they stole the books, like the real people, they didn't steal the complete sets. They stole part 2 of each thing. So even if they would have gotten it out, they wouldn't have been able to sell it for $12 million because they didn't even steal the right sets.
No, they're idiots. I
wouldn't
texted you last night.
consider
It's
them
like
idiots.
Well, no, they're dumb. Like they're because even so in the movie
they had a grand plan that just never came to fruition.
They don't know how to do this. And,
Right.
Like the two main characters that you're focused on this entire time are smart in a way that can get them to a certain point, but then they bring on the third guy to help them out. And he's like, well, we can't do it with 3. We're going to need a driver.
I think that third guy was like the smartest guy.
No, that third guy was not even the smartest guy.
I
The
liked
guy
him.
who did all the weightlifting, that was the driver, that guy is the smartest guy.
Well,
because
he
he's
had the
like,
most common
don't
sense.
don't get out of the fucking car. They're looking for 4 people. Get out. Why did you give him your phone number? Why are you doing... No, that guy had the most common sense.
Right.
And that's the last guy they brought on. So they eventually get the 4 people... And I equated it as like, oh, this is Ocean's 11, but by 4 people who are too stupid to be stealing anything.
Yeah,
like
and that's how they kind of played the whole movie. Was they really build these guys up that you think that they're going to create and pull off this master heist, and they build it up to where, I mean, they've got diagrams, they've got this, they've got the plan is
hand-drawn
set,
maps,
and then they fuck it all up.
Yeah,
and
they don't know how to follow through.
Yeah, they can't follow through. You know, the shit that they thought that having an exit in the basement is not there, and they can't figure out how to get out of the fucking building. And it's just everything is like plan B. Now it's plan B.
Well, the whole life is plan B because they get to there thinking there's only going to be one person guarding this, and it's a room full of librarians, and they go in there and they're made up to look like old men. They put in the time, and they're like, no, we can't do this, and they leave. Then the next day they pull it off. The one lady's only there, but they not even put the makeup back on.
Did they explain why they didn't put the makeup back on?
I don't know.
He said because it was too much. He goes, it was causing too much of a distraction that they thought it was people were staring at them when they did it the original time, and they aborted the first mission.
Okay.
So he said, I think people are really staring at us. I think we just need to blend and just go in as ourselves.
And the thing is that they overthink things. Like that was their issue. Is like they keep thinking, oh, they're watching us, or they're doing this, they're doing that, and they almost talk themselves out of doing the things that they've been planning months on doing, and that's when shit really hits the fan because they're starting to wing it. And Barry Keoghan's character is like, I can't go back in there. I can't do this. I'm having reservations. They talk him back into it, so now I'm a lookout. So he's no longer part of the main plan. The driver's still the driver, and then they get the other guy and his friend in there, but the friend doesn't want to have anything to do with trying to get the librarian taken care of.
Right.
Nobody wants to actually do the dirty work of this heist, but they want to pull off the heist. And it leads, honestly, to one of those saddest and most hilarious parts of this entire movie.
Oh, when
he tases the old lady, and it doesn't drop her. It doesn't drop her like you think.
Herself.
She pisses herself, and she's like inchworming to the door. I'm laughing, and I'm feeling so bad about this, knowing that this is a true story.
And apparently that's what really happened.
Yes, and
because
that's what
she
bummed
gave
me
the
out.
account. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, because the one guy's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be the one that shocks the lady. So they end up getting, God, what's it? I really wish I remembered their names. What was the long-haired dude's name again?
Evan Peters?
Evan Peters is
like his real name?
I don't care. We'll just
It's
call him
Warren.
Evan Peters.
And then Warren Spencer, the other dude, I can't remember. Chaz. And then there was another one.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
So, yeah, so Warren ends up tasing this woman, not in the neck, but like in the arm. Yeah. It's not a taser that knocks you out. So she's like, ow, that hurts. Please stop. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And he like wrestles her to the ground, keeps tasing her.
Well, he goes through moments where he's like super angry at her.
Yeah,
and then he's like, shut the fuck up. Just listen to what we have to say. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and then it leads to like the most hilarious moments where they're trying to get out. They go to the basement. They can't get out, so they're in the elevator, and the elevator keeps stopping on the floors, and like it opens up to the library, and all the students are in there looking over, and then
hits all the buttons on accident.
So they're like hiding on the sides of where the doors are. So the kids, all they see are like this giant book just kind of in the elevator. They're so stupid.
So
they're just dummies.
This movie is very timely. It was actually purchased by MoviePass.
Yes.
And like
just
distributed by MoviePass, which if you don't know what MoviePass is, it was the greatest thing to ever happen to me. It was you bought this thing for, I can't remember the price, but I think it was $25-$30, and you got to go see a movie a day for a month.
Like a pass.
Yeah. A movie pass.
A movie pass.
Joke.
And apparently,
Is that what a pass is?
Movie Pass 2.0 is coming, guys.
Oh,
So
have you heard the details on that though?
no,
You have to watch ads, and they have to make. They are developing software to watch your eyes to make sure you're watching the ads. You can't just sit there and let it run.
What? I want to go to the theater for Movie Pass though.
No, you to earn points on your movie pass and to do all this stuff. And it's a whole thing. It's a little too Big Brother even for me, and I want chips in my fucking arms.
I definitely.
I don't know. So
Like in order to get Movie Pass, you need to put this chip behind your ear.
Yeah, there might be a different version of it, but I mean, if you watch the ads, you get free movies out of it. So
all I know is
I don't like the eye tracking shit.
This
Anyway.
movie came out during when I had Movie Pass, and I tried to go see it. Like I think at one point I had reserved it too, and I couldn't make it
This
that
was
day or whatever.
2018. 2018 is the movie came out, but the heist itself happened in 2006. 2004 or 2006, something around there.
I was going to say, because they were in prison for just over 7 years.
7 years.
So it would have had to have been right out. This was made probably right after they had gotten out.
Yeah. They did Ask Me Anythings on Reddit and stuff like that.
Well, and I guess the director of the movie and the writer of the movie were actually talking to them while they were in prison, trying to kind of get an idea because they wanted to make this movie, and then it dawned on them that if they make this movie after they're out, they can kind of intersperse them into the movie, and it kind of changed their filmmaking style. But they were trying to make this movie before they even got out of prison.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of neat, and like with you, it's like I started really deep diving into what this was, and I kind of wanted to see some of the archival footage of like the news reports of this heist and stuff like that, because the way they play it off in this movie is like these people are stupid, even to the point where Evan Peters' character Warren, after they pull it off, they get in the getaway van, literally throws up all over the passenger's dash.
He got hit.
No, this man is probably so nervous, and he just shocked this old woman into pissing herself. And he didn't get the books he wanted because they dropped the big books, but they had a couple others, and they get in there and they finally went through, and it's talking about something and doing it was completely different to him. And once they pulled it off and he had to actually get his hands dirty, I think that made him sick, because you see it progress later on in the movie where when he's shoplifting and stuff like that, they're all going crazy with guilt.
I like it when he throws.
So he just vomited all over
the security guard.
He throws it at him.
To steal it. Yeah.
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
And he kicks the car.
You're an asshole.
Yeah, at that point in the movie, they're kind of all going through this like nervous phase where they think everybody is watching them. They think everybody's listening to them. They're freaking out, and it kind of plays back and forth to all these things. I mean, it does a good job of kind of conveying that whole message of like just their whole psychosis of going through this and holding on to these books, because like I said, you steal a fucking book, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, right.
And it shows the one guy has them tucked under his bed, so he's
in a bag. Yeah,
it's just in a fucking bag under his bed, dude. You got these multi-million-dollar rare books, and it's just sitting under his bed.
It's sitting next to like a Calvin and Hobbes book or something.
A couple of interesting things about this film is during the filming, the actors were not allowed to meet their real life counterparts because the director feared they would sympathize and or play them in a certain light.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it is, and because if you hear their story and you finally get to see how it ruined their life, it might change kind of how you approach that character. I think Barry Keoghan's character was very sympathetic.
Well, they go through the gambit of emotions in the movie. So at the beginning, it's very lighthearted. They're actually joking about a lot of it.
Oh, they're having a great time.
The real
scoping
guys,
out, and
they're laughing and saying, yeah, well, I don't remember it that way, and he remembers it this way, and yeah, it's funny. By the end of the movie, these guys are crying because they're everything kind of rushes back to them, and they feel all the emotions of this whole thing and everything they did wrong.
Right. Yeah, and it's just crazy to see them. They're not even in the same room together, like all the characters, but it's almost like the first, like Warren and the other guy are having a conversation during this movie. And it becomes where I think the term unreliable narrator comes into play, where it's like you're seeing multiple movies in one from different point of views as it's playing along. Because there's a point where they're talking, and it flips from being in a car to not being in a car because they remembered it differently.
Right,
like,
that's
we thought
what I was saying earlier.
Well, yeah, you were talking about the ponytail guy. Like, he had a blue scarf, but they were telling it as if he had a purple scarf.
Right.
So it was very like their point of view was different of the events that happened, and it was just it was a way really actually kind of cool way to.
I think that's super interesting because it's just a way you perceive a story versus the way like Scott or Jordan perceives a story. It's completely different depending on who's. Even though you're in the same spot, it doesn't matter, and that's just kind of
5 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, it's all perspective, you know. It's on how
Are you talking about being late?
it's all perspective on who sees what, you know.
He holds on to shit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's really upset about that. Maybe if you communicated just a little better, we wouldn't be in
perspective,
right?
So,
but yeah, it was very interesting. Like, it almost feels like this movie could have been made like taking place in like the 70s. Like where it was like a 70s like bank heist type of movie, but it was like now. So they're
unfortunately,
we gave them my
to
email.
Do that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it felt like a story that could be told at any point in time with any different kind of scenario, and it felt familiar, but it also felt kind of different at the same time, and I liked it. It was different enough for me to enjoy it, because like I said, that filmmaking style at first really threw me off because it felt very low budget. Mystery, unsolved mysteries.
Well,
it felt very.
You're not sure what
mysteries.
you're getting because you're like, okay, is this
going
to be a documentary
right.
or like is it actually a movie?
So it's funny you said that. So I told you guys that it's on Amazon Prime. I own it on Blu-ray, but I am lazy. So if it is streaming,
I'm the same way. I've got tons of movies I won't crack open because I can just push
a button. Streaming, I'll watch it. So I went onto the Amazon app and I saw that there were two back to back. One was the actual cover of the film, and the other one was just that picture of Evan Peters. It's kind of like dark, And I was like, is this? I started it, and
it's an uncut version,
and it starts with like the documentary stuff.
You thought it was a
so I was
movie?
like, oh, maybe this is just like the making of. So I started the actual version on my phone, like the version with the same cover, and it was the same. So I was like, okay, well, we're good now. But
that's funny.
And you were right, actually. It's I thought it was the actual stuff from the book. It's actually Spencer's paintings at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure about the beginning. I knew
that.
the end, but I wasn't sure how the beginning.
So I apologize. I will always correct my mistakes when it comes to movies. But yeah, man, I thought the soundtrack was awesome. I liked the way that it played on each scene, like when he's in Amsterdam and then he's doing the Hurley Girlies stuff, and then like I think there's a
hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdy man. Sorry.
Hurdy-gurdy man.
The Hurley-Girlies.
Hurley-Girlies, man.
Well, and that's what gave me the very Ocean's 11 vibe, because they at one point they were even doing Elvis Presley like in Ocean's 11. I'm like, oh, this is one of those heist movies.
A little less conversation.
And that's the first thing I thought of, and then when you mentioned it in the chat, and you were like, oh, this is very Ocean's 11. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought this, because with the music and the way it was shot and everything, and they were portraying them to be like, you thought, if you didn't know anything about this, you thought they're going to pull it off because of the way it kind of sets up as that Ocean's 11.
I had already ruined it for myself, not on purpose. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. I remember when it first came out, I had
I've read the transcript.
I had read a couple articles about it, so I knew they got arrested. And like I said, the Reddit stuff. So
well, I mean, they're talking about this. They're actually talking about a crime. I'm assuming they got caught.
Right.
So that wasn't something that took me out of left field, like, oh my God, they finally caught him.
They could have been in Amsterdam or the Netherlands, and no extradition.
No extradition. They were interviewing them. They're like, we still haven't caught these guys. We don't even know where they are.
We
They're
filmed
like,
this
they're right
movie
fucking
with
here. They're
Roman
doing interviews.
Polanski.
No, it doesn't work like that.
No, but yeah, I surprisingly walked away from this movie actually kind of enjoying it a lot more than I started liking it.
That's cool.
Which is great.
That's
like,
fun.
I really didn't want to not like it. Like, I really, at this point, want to enjoy the things that we pick. Like,
too.
And you know what I mean?
Tired
like,
of hating them.
Well, I mean, we're going to run across things that we don't like.
Right.
But there are going to be things that, appeal to us that I want to enjoy. I don't want to sit there and let other people's opinion of them taint how I view it, but I do want to sit there and just be like,
it's a good movie.
We picked another bad movie. We picked another shit movie. It's like, at some point, I don't want to hate something, and it really scared me, especially since there have been a few movies that you've picked that, like that fucking comedy that was bad, and then we ended up
Sam Rockwell.
Oh, I don't even remember the title. That's how much I purged that out of my head. But you know what I mean? Like
the
I don't
Steve
want to
Zahn movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I
What
don't.
was it called? It's gonna bother me now.
Fuck that movie.
I don't know. It was so bad. I
But
can't
it's like
remember the name of it.
I don't want to get to a point where it's like, oh great, Aaron picked another A24 art house
How
movie.
dare
and
you.
I'm just saying, like I'm very.
With Simon Rex from MTV.
I heard that's actually really good though. As much as I don't want to fucking
Red Rocket is.
Red Rocket.
And A24 does do that film. I would pick it. But
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not an elevated horror movie.
It's not. It's actually a very good.
The Red
comedy.
Rocket is a metaphor for communism in the 80s. But no, I was very happy
Dog's
to
penis.
walk away. Shit. Hey, that's a cover photo. But yeah, I walked away actually really enjoying this a lot more than I think I went into it. And
I'm excited.
It makes me happy.
For the year that we go 52
2.5.
movies, they're all shit. No,
52 of the worst movies from 1983.
yeah, no, I
We're
kind
like,
of
well, Scott hasn't picked his movie yet.
I kind of agree with you in the sense that it started off kind of boring, and I was like, ah, great.
Yeah.
And I love these actors. Like, I was like, oh, I really like these guys, and I'm not getting into this. But once they started planning the heist, and the heist was going all, I was really getting into it. And I enjoy, and like I said, I really enjoyed the like 60 minutes or whatever Dateline NBC aspect where it was flip-flopping between the real people and the fake people, and I liked the music. I liked the story. I knew they weren't going to get away with it, but I enjoyed the process, and I actually did feel really bad for that lady.
Yeah.
And at the end, I teared up a little for them.
It's a
not like I cried. I didn't cry. I felt the emotion when they were feeling the emotion.
So-
like they ruined their entire lives.
Yeah. Well, and the movie's what about 2 hours long?
But it is 2 hours long.
That
It's like an
first
hour.
hour felt long. It did, and
I think
it
the
be-
first 30 minutes.
Well, it's
did.
because I'm watching it. It takes a while to really get into. You start kind of liking it, and then I threw out a line to you about feeling old or being old because
Yeah.
they put all the makeup on.
Remember.
And then you're like, oh, you're only an hour in. And I was like, I can't be right. Like it feels like I've been watching this forever. And I clicked on it thinking there's only about 30 minutes left. I had another hour, and I'm like, oh shit, I got another hour of this. But because once they start getting into things, that movie went fast.
Yes.
Like that last hour was. It could have been 20 minutes. I wouldn't have known the difference.
Right.
And it wrapped up so quickly, but it wasn't like, oh, they just had to wrap up loose ends. Like they told a good story at the last hour that completely justified a 2-hour runtime.
Right.
And it was just like, oh, okay, well that was good.
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, that first hour, it like what Scott said, like until they started getting to the heist stuff, it dragged. Like it just really slogged to it, and then once you get to that point, man, it just speeds through, and you're like, all right, this is great. Like this was a good movie.
So what are our scores, Scott?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
One.
Yes.
Scott.
It's
I
fucking-
hate everything that's good.
It's a 0.5. Next. Fuck it, just because it's Aaron's movie. No, I actually enjoyed this movie. It's
Aaron got
I
it
think
from
even like the regular folk. I mean, they're going to enjoy this movie. I think the story is actually. I mean, it's actually really bizarre when you think about it.
I love true crime stuff.
Yeah, and it's based on a true story. So
No, it's not based because they put that
Well,
at the
it
beginning.
is,
It's like
yes, it is
this
a
is
true
not
story.
based on a true story. This is a true story.
So I like the way they kind of incorporated the real guys into the movie. I like Evan Peters. I'm actually like I was kind of introduced to him with American Horror Story.
right, that first season was good.
Yeah, I think he's a really good actor, man. It's like funny enough, I don't think I've really seen him in anything that I don't enjoy him in. Again, like you said, first part of the movie kind of dragged a little bit. The heist part was super fun, and the way that they all remembered different stuff, I actually enjoyed that. However, something, and I can't pinpoint it, I feel like this is missing something. Like it either just didn't explain enough to me, or like I wanted more of something. And it's like I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Like I felt like when the movie was over, I felt like there was something that like I either just didn't get answered, or like I wanted something else.
What didn't you get?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It was a feeling that I had. Like I was like of incomplete almost.
I have that feeling with some movies where it's like you just feel like there's an element missing that
Yeah.
you can't quite figure out. But if it was there, this movie would be just that one step better.
And I can't really think of what it is
Yeah.
that I'm thinking is
an undefinable
missing
quality.
per se, but it didn't take away from like enjoying the movie. And I think most people enjoy this movie.
Because much like Jackass, we almost got dong in this movie.
Yes.
Evan Peters stands up in the bath, and I'm like, almost.
We're
We almost got it, guys.
Almost there, guys.
We almost did it.
So with that said, I give this movie a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, I would. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 as well. Which is weird, but I didn't think this was
It's weird because we were just arguing about how stupid I was, and I didn't
I mean,
understand
you are
movies.
You are stupid. You
No,
don't
I just
understand.
love that. Like 3.5 for you two right now is a good thing, and when I give a 3.5 to a movie, I'm shit on for like months
because American Animals had there was plot problems, and there was
not 24,000 people telling you it's better than a 3.5.
whatever.
Go
I'm
ahead,
just
sorry.
saying, like you said, there was accent slips and
Yeah, Barry
there was some
Keoghan's
weird-
is an Irish actor, and there are moments where he's an Irish actor.
Yeah,
like
and
it just slips in.
It's one of those where you're like, huh?
Well, and it's because I think this may be one of his earlier movies. Like, you have Killing with Sacred Deer, and you got this, and I think, like with Eternals, he's in it, but he's using his accent. I don't know. I haven't really seen him in a ton more things to know if he's ever really done an American accent to where you can, like with Colin Farrell's an Irish actor that can pull off an American accent.
Right.
He's done it numerous times.
Evan Peters has an accent, doesn't he? I want to say he does.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever watched anything.
because I sometimes confuse him, and not because of looks, with like Charlie Hunnam, because Charlie Hunnam's English.
Right.
And when he does like an English accent, it feels like, oh, it's Charlie Hunnam doing an English accent. But because I've seen him in Sons of Anarchy so long, I just equate him for being an American actor, where Evan Peters, I believe, is an American actor.
Well,
So
same
it just
thing with
feels
the guy
like he
from-
should be English.
The guy
you know
from
what I mean?
Walking Dead. What's his name? The guy who plays Rick.
Yes, he was in Love Actually.
Yeah, he's can't remember his
English.
name. Yeah, he's got an English accent. And when you hear him talk, you're like, huh?
Yeah,
Where'd
it throws
that
you
come
off.
from?
You're like, it's like Tom Holland at this point is probably more of an American actor than an English actor. So when he's talking about, hey, Uncharted is coming out, it's like, shut up, Harry Potter, fucking go be Spider-Man. But no, I think Evan Peters is an American actor.
Okay, but
It just feels like he should be probably like an English actor. Or
there
like,
was
someone
weird
else.
editing choices in this film
Yep.
and stuff like that. I don't think this is a perfect movie. I think a lot of people have told me this is good. I just don't think it's as good as they say it is. So that's why it's a 3.5, because I would definitely recommend this to people, and I definitely watch it
It's a
again.
fun watch. Yeah.
Memories of a Murder is a masterpiece. So,
Why you gotta bring up bullshit?
but you did. So what do you give it?
I also give it a 3.5. I think it's a solid
Wow.
movie. It's better than average. I don't know if I'd
The world's
revisit
gonna
it
end tonight.
or probably revisit it anytime soon, but it is something that maybe later on down the line I could probably put on again and appreciate it. It's not a constant watch, like a rewatchable type thing right away, but I enjoyed it. I like I said, I started off really dreading this movie, just the way it started, and I was afraid I was going to sit there and be like, great, now I'm going to give this a low score and not enjoy this, and Aaron's going to give me shit because he's going to come and say this was the greatest movie ever made. And I was honestly like, I was sitting there watching this, afraid that I would have to tell you that I didn't like this movie, and I don't want to get into a pattern of not liking what you pick, because our movie choices are pretty in line. So
Right.
when you do something like this and it starts off this way, I'm sitting there going, fuck, I'm going to have to tell him I hate this movie, and I don't want to keep doing that. And I'm very happy you picked this. I enjoy this movie, and it's better than average, and I would recommend it to people. It's a good true story heist movie, and there's something about those that really get to you. And, it's like things like Heat or Dog Day Afternoon and things like that. I like these types of movies. I'm a sucker for Ocean's 11 and seeing how things get planned. So, like, that was kind of neat. So,
But this is
3.5.
This is the exact opposite, though, because you think
Yeah.
the way that they're going to the way they're
Oh,
really
the
building it
planning
up
didn't
is
really-
that they are going to this is the biggest thing, and it's gonna come out, and it's gonna be like Ocean's 11.
Well, I
and-
think that's what's good about being a true story,
and
is
then
that
it flips.
they show that these are fucking art majors.
Yeah.
They're not fucking geniuses. They're not like mathematicians. They don't know how to plan shit. Talking about doing something and executing are two different things, and it shows that. Like, you can talk about doing all this. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and do this and plan it. We've all done it. Like, oh, how could we steal this, or how could we do something? You know what I mean? But execution is 90% of it, and they are too stupid to execute it.
Yeah.
And to the point where they're getting the book appraised at like Sotheby's with their fucking own cell phone numbers. Even the guy was like, so did you give him the hotel phone number? I gave him my cell number. And he's like, call your number right now. And he calls it. He's like, hey, this is so-and-so.
what's up?
He's like, does that sound like a fucking art dealer, you idiot? Pulls a gun and he's like, go get that shit. Like, they're dumb. They are dumb people. And even the smartest people and all the perfect planning executed by naive, maybe not worldly people, will fail. And
They're
that's
kids.
what showed this. And
They're
you're
kids.
right, they're kids.
You know?
We got to think they were probably 20 years old,
Yeah.
21 years old. You're dumb at 20. I'm dumb at 42. I could never do this. Plan all I want.
So the only thing I disagree with you is I think this is incredibly rewatchable. I think
You had to find something. We all agree
No,
on the
I'm
score,
just
and you're like,
saying.
well, shit, I have to disagree.
I'm just saying, watching a botched heist is just as good as watching.
I agree.
one
I'm
that.
just saying I'm not
That's
going to sit
all.
here in a month later and be like, I want to watch that again. I'll, maybe in a year, I'll watch a couple others. I'll be like, hey, I'll
gonna
check
be
out
fun to
American
edit for
Animals
you.
again.
It's one of those movies. If it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I would.
I don't know where. I don't know who's going to put it on.
Yeah, it's
Right.
one of. I'd never heard of the movie until you brought it up.
Exactly.
So I never knew it was in theaters. This is one of those things where it's like,
Did it ever go to theaters?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I had the movie pass. I kept clicking to
Oh,
go
okay, so it
get it
actually
to
went-
watch it, and then I remember everyone seeing it and being like, "Holy crap!" And I think it was John Waters' favorite movie of 2018.
Yes,
And,
I think I read that somewhere.
I kept meaning to see it, but I just kept putting it off, being like, whatever. I should have. I would have loved to have seen this in the theaters, but okay. So that was
was good.
American Animals. That was a fun conversation. Jordan's pick is next. What do you got for us next week, Jordan?
I decided, after much deliberation, to pick a movie, and then me and Scott sat down and talked for a little bit, and I
After
changed
they were
that
done
movie.
making out.
Yeah,
Yes.
after we cuddled
You're
ever
like,
so softly while watching Aaron be a dad for a moment.
My head was on his chest. We were watching the
We
trailer.
were watching trailers of movies, and
Penis in his mouth.
I decided to change what my choice was. Literally on the fly. I had a whole plan for this, and I decided I'm changing it up. We're going to go comedy. We're going to go old school comedy. We're going to watch 1933's Marx Brothers classic, Duck Soup.
Oh, Your Excellency, I must speak to you.
I'll see you at the theater tonight. I'll hold your seat till you get there. After you get there, you're on your own.
Hello? Hello, yes? No, he's not in yet. All right, well, goodbye. That was for you again.
I wonder whatever became of me. I should have been back here a long time ago.
They got gone, we got gone, all got children got gone.
I personally love the Marx Brothers. I love A Night in Casablanca. I have a box set. I love their comedy and even how timeless it is, even from like 1933. So I'm excited to finally watch something that I've actually put this off a number of times watching it. It's supposed to be
Their
one of the
best
top
movie, yeah.
comedies ever.
I'm glad it's not going to be for us.
Everybody
Oh,
says
it's good.
everybody
I'm
says
not
it's
going
a
to tell you.
masterpiece
I'm going to love
of a
it.
comedy.
I'm going to love it because
Yeah.
I love the Marx Brothers. So I'm already going in with very high expectations.
I'm into slapstick, man. I'm into Three
Yes.
Stooges. I'm into
Yes.
stuff like that. So I mean, this might be right in my wheelhouse.
This would be considered, I think, Screwball.
Yeah, screwball, slapstick.
So-
Yeah.
All
But,
right.
yeah,
so
I'm excited for this.
Duck Soup will be Jordan's pick for next week.
Rolled his eyes.
No, I'm excited because I have the collection right there.
Yep.
I've never watched any of them. We are going to see Uncharted before the next show. At least try. If not, we are seeing.
I'll
it.
be back Friday, so we can
Yeah.
either go a late Friday or we can go Saturday or something.
I don't
so
care.
We'll watch it.
We'll figure it out. But we definitely will see it before. You guys will hear our. And then I think. Well,
and then we'll have Scott's picks next week. Yeah, we
then
gotta.
Scott's picks and then another snack show. So just want to lay it out there for you. Okay, so I am Aaron.
I'm Jordan.
and Scott.
And this is I'll Watch It Later podcast. Keep lying about the movies you've seen to your friends. We will see y'all next week. Have a good day, guys.
Like Aaron does.
Yeah.